this. I wanted to talk to the man. I wanted to let him know what I was hearing. I then burnt a CD with his reversals, and I immediately mailed it out to him because he responded in email, and he said he would listen. So I sent it out. He called and left a message on my answering machine thanking me for sending it. He said he had not listened to it yet, but that he had received it. And I also wrote a little one-page letter just explaining a little bit about reverse speech and what it was. And I said, please, you're being used. This is not who you think it is. It's going to be awful for the people who come out. I'm trying to save these people and you from the worst mistake of your life. And I have no agenda. I have no reason to attack him or anybody else. I'm just trying to keep people from being hurt. So with that being said, what I would like to do is just play the short clip. It's less than a minute, probably 40 seconds, of that TV little interview, and you'll hear the commentator, the interviewer, and Prophet Yahweh, and the music. I mean, it's, I'll just say, because that's where I've gotten most of my reversals, so that's why I want people to hear what it sounded like in forward speech, and then I will play some of the reversals. Okay. So here's the clip forward.
He's coming up toward us. Whoa, man! Oh, hallelujah! And a few seconds later, it disappeared. It's gone back up in space. Prophet Yahweh isn't concerned. He says he'll be back.
There was a little bit more to that, but that was the essence of it. This man who was the skeptical interviewer was, kind of blown away because he saw it, and cameraman saw it, everybody saw it. So, it was a very exciting thing. But here, again, I immediately, that day, I burned the CD and sent it right off. I said, hoping that he would hear himself, not me telling him what. It's him speaking. So he's trying to tell himself what's going on. But, he's got a lot invested in this now. They call them, the owl is the term that comes up over and over for this group of reptilian aliens.
Yeah,
it's the owl. So everybody uses that term in reverse across the board, and everybody uses it because it is a universal term for this group. And I said to him that, what did I say? Now I've lost my train of thought. But I'll start playing some of these where here he says, and this is, I think, where you're talking about mind control, because he says, and he keeps screwing my head.
He screwed my head. He screwed my head.
Now, when he's talking about the purpose, he says, for eating.
For eating. For eating.
Now, this is the commentator, or I'll just call him the commentator. He's the interviewer. He says, hang you like beef, thousands.
Hang you like beef, so. Hang you like beef, so.
Here, I believe this is George Nori, who, when they're talking about going out and Prophet Yahweh, George Nori says, now don't listen. Here we have Prophet Yahweh saying, I'm not a son of his. The S on his is a little chopped off, but it's pretty clear. I'm not a son of his.
And he's saying he's not a son of Yahweh's.
Yes.
Because it's a fraudulent game. This whole thing is a game.
Yes, and this part of his mind, which knows the truth, is trying desperately to communicate with him. Now, here he says, this is Prophet Yahweh, then he says, they tie a wire to your heart. Now, I think this is probably more of metaphorical words. The reverse speech can be kind of metaphorical, but probably of a control.
Yeah, the programming.
Yeah, okay. They tie a wire to your heart. Here he says, You found it, misery. I think this one, next one is very chilling because he says his very plaintive voice. He says, "You starred me with hell," and he drags out the word hell, but as if I'm a star. You starred me.
Yeah,
with hell.
that's his claim to fame, and they've matched him up with hell.
Unfortunately, yes. Here he is.
You starred me with hell. You starred me with hell. You starred me with hell.
I mean, there's a real sadness.
He knows.
It's part of his voice. This is not a bad man.
No, but he has to know that he's being controlled. Maybe he doesn't, but if that's his subconscious speaking.
This is the part of his mind that's beyond their control. And it is trying desperately to tell him what's going on. Now, here is the cameraman. He says in forward, he sees the UFO and he goes, I got it. But in reverse, he says, a liar, a liar, a liar. Because he's talking about his whole agenda. Now, Prophet Yahweh, where he gets very excited in forward, and you heard, there it is, something about hallelujah. But here he says, he's asking these ships, are you one of the hordes?
Are you one of the hordes? Are you one of the hordes?
And then the commentator says, arsenic, they will lie. Here, this is the commentator again. It's kind of interesting, but he says, hand over Fanny, let them grill it.
I have two questions. Do you know what arsenic means?
Poison.
Yeah, poison?
Poison. That is like a very common term for poison. This is a poisonous thing.
Just want to make sure it's the same thing in reverse stage.
Yeah, arsenic, that means poison.
Okay. And because these things that he's doing, they're using him as a conditioning front man to get people conditioned to want to see UFOs.
Yes.
So that when UFOs arrive, people aren't afraid of them. They're more or less fascinated by the phenomenon.
Of course.
But what the real intent is that UFOs are coming because they want to stock them up with humans as food.
Yes, absolutely. I could hear them speaking in all of this. Their voices, the carrier wave for their voices was the music in between the voices. And I've only got one because I use fabulous headphones, battery operated, and I can hear, but you'd never be, it wouldn't carry over the internet and the phone. So I didn't, but I could hear them saying, we're going to fool these people. We're going, I even heard them say, we're going to roast some humans. It was horrifying. I couldn't sleep that night. I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to do something about this.
Well, I've been trying to warn for 2 years about their agenda.
Yes.
That these aliens are feasting on humans.
Well,
and this whole thing goes into my article on the Dulce base that I have at thewatcherfiles.com or any of my websites about the Dulce base prisoners. It's part of an agreement that our government has with these aliens.